Hello and welcome to Alternate Image Raid. This is another Raid Shadow Legends video, and today we're going to be discussing a team for the Iron Twins Fortress. So the inspiration of this team came off of a video that Ash made highlighting Skathix. And he built a team around Skathix and also around Woad-Painted here. This is his specific team composition. And I wanted to see if I could make that same team work here. If I could take Skathix, Woad, Geomancer, Stag Knight, and Godseeker Aniri and actually fully auto stage 15 of the Iron Twins. We'll see here. I have not completed stage 15 on Force. I actually don't remember if I've completed on anything. I might have, but not Force at least. And I know a lot of creators, and I've done this too even in my few videos, go, hey, let's see if this is going to work. And then they've already tried it, and it's already working. So we'll see. I have not made this work. I have not tried it. I did just complete stage 14 with this team, fully on auto. And I wanted to show in this video, all natural, if it actually works. So I set this up with some AI, and I'm going to change one thing as I want Stag Knight to attempt this first. I can't change the priority, but I can make it my opener. The key for me in feeling with this boss is getting that decreased speed. That decreased speed buff stays up on the boss. Your buffs can roll, and he doesn't just go take crazy amounts of turns. So we're going to start with prioritizing the A1 on Stag Knight. We're going to turn off the A2 on Geomancer. Actually, generally we want all the damage to come from his A3 in combination with the reflect damage coming out of his passive. Godseeker can just do kind of whatever that she wants, although I think actually I am going to set this as the opener as well, just so that the buff extension happens for sure after buffs are actually out. Skathix, we're going to do the same thing here actually. We're also going to set this as an opener. I don't want this to come out early and make the boss go fast. And then Woad. You know what? We're going to do the same thing for Woad as well, actually. We're just going to have it be this attack. I just don't want... I don't want her reflect damage coming out on turn 1. So let's see if it works that way, keeping all kinds of buffs off of turn 1 and attempting to make sure the slows happen first. And let's hope I don't waste 20 energy right now. Again, at the end of this video, I will show you all of their stats and their sets and their gearing. I will discuss a little bit of alternatives, but honestly not so much for the point of this video. And I will link Ash's video in the description below so you can compare. And I'll kind of discuss how my team varies from him, at least in terms of gearing, because I could not, of course, get quite what he was doing in his video. We'll see Woad full heals the team. That was one thing he mentioned, that Woad-Painted is actually like an amazing healer now, in terms of at least being able to one-shot your whole team to full HP, and it's pretty awesome. So this team has a couple things going for it. Skathix does provide that block debuffs and a shield, but mostly his A1 is providing a chance for a slow. That is the same thing I'm getting here with Stag Knight. Stag Knight is providing a chance of slow on his A1 as well. Additionally, his A2 is providing a defense down and a weaken. Sorry, defense down and a decrease attack. Then we have Geomancer, like I said, with his passive reflect damage. And then Godseeker is providing a bunch of healing, a buff extension, and a chance to res. Because the team is going to die at some point during this run, almost certainly. People did die at stage 14. We're going through pretty good. Now, this is unfortunate. We'll see that we did proc his cleanse in the midst of this. And we're probably going to die now, actually. Okay, not right away. But if we can't get the slow on, so that's problematic. Now, they did get fully healed, but... Okay, good. So, slow is back up. That is very concerning. And then we did have a resist on our actual burn coming from Geo, which means we're not proccing the passive reflect damage. So, one of the things with Geo is that passive reflect damage doesn't cause the percentage-based triggers of this boss's damage to actually cleanse all the abilities off him and get that extra turn. Geo seems to be unique in that regard at this point. So when I get to the end, I'm discussing alternatives. I don't have one for Geo yet. Personally, on my account, I don't have anything better than if this team works, then this team. So far, it is going not terribly. As long as we don't proc another one of those cleanses, we'll be in a really good place. And I think there's only one more cleanse to proc, probably about here at 40%. So it's just a matter of RNG as to whether or not this is going to be a successful run or not, basically. It is looking good so far. That actually has a strong chance right now. I think we just passed the threshold on which the that extra turn on the boss will proc. And if so, we probably win. And Ash's team is a dub for even an account that can't do quite such interesting things as the one that his does. We have multiple deaths. Guardian Angel did proc. There we go. Okay, so that is really important. Unfortunately, we're also still really low on the HP. We get him back up, although we are losing just one more. We got the cleanse out. We are going to heal back up to full. This is such a spooky run, and we won't get the value of the burn because there's only one turn left on this. So we could die right here. Oh, that is... this is a really close run. We need to get the HP burn from Geomancer back on before the boss gets to go. Or we probably die. This is tense for me. And it loses. This team loses, no full auto. Again, is this my gear is too low? Possibly. Is the team, because it's not fully here yet to level 60. So I'm going to do a little bit of tweaking. I'm not going to change the gear yet, but I'm going to make sure that Skathix and Woad get their masteries finished out and they get level 60. And then we'll try this run again and see how it works. Okay, we're back in again. I have got Skathix and Woad-Painted's level up to 60, finished off their masteries, and enchanted Skathix's gear. Woad-Painted still isn't enchanted, but I wanted to see if it could work like this, if this was enough, particularly because Woad-Painted didn't die. So her stats shouldn't be as important in the survivability of this team other than maybe speed. Let's go through this. I'm just going to let it run, and we'll see if it works. And if not, we'll go finish off any remaining gear and stats and any of these other champions and see what we can do. We'll see. This one does not work either. Let's finish off the last of all the enchants and see if we can make it work out. So unfortunately, I lost the beginning of this run to my recording. However, basically I went through, I fixed the enchants on all my champions. A couple of them were missing enchant. They didn't have absolutely everything. And then here's what happened from that next run attempt. So this team absolutely cannot do this boss on auto. There's probably some RNG chance that it could succeed. We're going to give this one last go, and I'm going to do this full thing on manual. Mostly because there is a chance that the boss will proc his cleanse, and the team just carries on without any concern for that on auto, which of course makes sense. It is on auto. However, we need them to stop doing things with shields, and we need our two champions with slows to exclusively do slow at that point. Get our big heal going up here. Yeah, let's get that big shield. Protect our team. Now the strategy will be generally the same thing that I was trying to do with Auto with the AI programming. It's try not to do a terrible amount of damage and just keep the slow up on the boss. So again, I'm going to let this one kind of zoom through pretty quick. I make a couple mistakes throughout, but nothing too bad. And we'll see kind of what happens here at the end of this run. I think it's going to kill us here still. Oh, and we did it. Woad-Painted carried the day. Look at the heals on Woad. Now, it was really interesting to me. He did this video as a Skathix highlight, but Woad was the carry for this particular team. So it can do, this team can do Iron Twins Fortress stage 15, at least against Force Affinity here. However, we'll see it's very sketchy. It is super dangerous. Almost all the damage came from Geomancer, with everyone else just doing a little bit. Godseeker, while it didn't do as much healing, was amazing in terms of the being able to get some of those revives off when they needed to go. Stag Knight's attack down didn't happen as often as I would like to, but still providing some extra value there aside from the slow. And yeah, that feels sketchy. That feels like a significant chance of wasting a lot of energy on this particular mission. Although I am glad I got that one Eternal Soul Stone. So let's go check out the stats on these champions. So Geomancer, I tuned him up recently, just a couple weeks back. I think I discussed that in a video a little bit. But what I did today is gave him a few extra enchant that he was missing on some of his pieces of gear. So we have him in decent HP attack and defense. He needs to survive as his main key. Okay speed, and then a ton of accuracy. You'll see he did still get resisted sometimes, despite having almost 500 accuracy. He probably should be closer to 600, but this is really all I could do without making him kind of weak. For masteries, we took him down to War Master. I do want to be able to make use of him in other content, and you know, things like Lore of Steel to get those extra stats out. Set-wise, nothing really important, just making sure we get to these stats. Skathix, in the initial video, it was recommended by Ash to put him in a reflex set so that his ability would rotate through sooner, but I couldn't get anywhere near what I need to in terms of accuracy if I did that, especially not with also getting some feet. So for this guy, lots of HP, lots of defense if you can, speed, and accuracy. Accuracy, if you're trying to take it to this boss, really needs to be over 500. My accuracy is too low, but that's just about as good as I can do if I don't sacrifice something else. For masteries, I did follow the video and take him through to War Master, although in this case, it's probably actually a detriment to use him on this boss with this, because that War Master can proc the extra damage, which will cause the boss to cleanse and hurt our team. Taking that all the way through, defense might be better, or even maybe down defense and then down to get Eagle Eye for the additional accuracy is probably a better way to go if you're using him on this boss specifically. But for general use, you want to have that War Master for taking him somewhere else. Godseeker is in a reflex set, trying to get her abilities back sooner to get those reses out and that AoE heal, the debuff and buff increase and decrease. So we have her good HP, good defense, good speed. Damage actually isn't bad, but that's not necessary for this build and maybe not helpful for this boss. And then her accuracy doesn't matter in this boss, but over 250 is normal for me. I didn't even realize I didn't have her masteries on the champion. Having her in masteries would be great, since I would end up taking her through War Master. It'd actually be more dangerous for this boss. So taking her through defense and support, if you were trying to get boss help for this one, would be the way to go. Stag Knight, we have him in War Master. Pretty standard masteries. He isn't built specifically for this in terms of his masteries. Again, War Master is actually a detriment for this boss. We want all the damage coming passively through Geomancer for this specific team composition. I did recently just retune my Stag Knight in order to use him better for this team. So he is, again, also at almost 500 accuracy. I wouldn't have him that high in a normal team. And then he does have okay HP, okay attack, defense, speed, and damage. And this was just the best gear I could do. I took him through a HellHades optimizer to see what I could do in getting speed around this and accuracy around here. And that's about as good as I could get. I would like his speed to be a little bit higher, but his accuracy is already struggling. Woad-Painted, the healer queen of this team. Stat-wise, a ton of HP, decent defense, lots of speed, and then accuracy over 250, although I don't think it matters for her kit, particularly not on this team. On this team, block active skills is pretty nice, or on her kit, go elsewhere, but for this team, it doesn't matter. For this team, all we care about is this big heal, and the heal is based on her HP, and so the more HP you get, the better, and then obviously the more speed, the better. And then for masteries, I did take her through specifically for this build. I think I took this build off HellHades website. It wasn't tuned specifically for this team, but taking you through a defense, HP base, support tree seemed to be the way to go for this team. And yes, that's what we came up with. It's kind of tough. Stage 15 is brutal in terms of speed requirements, accuracy requirements, resist requirements. That boss just has so many stats and does so much damage. While this team can do it, I honestly will probably not be farming stage 15 with it, as even on manual, I just have such a strong chance of losing, and losing that 20 energy each time is just not going to be worth it. So most likely I will take this team and use this team as a full auto like stage 13 farmer. Just kind of give up the resources. If I can full auto stage 14 consistently, I would like to do that as well. Who knows if that's actually going to work out, but at least this team can do it. However, with a realistic account with normal gear, even pretty good gear, but still kind of normal, using this as an auto team for that boss is just not viable. Using it to get the final reward, totally worthwhile. Spend that extra, few dozen energy to get that Eternal Soul Stone, and then probably move on, drop to something of a lower difficulty if you can't put out, a little bit more speed, HP, defense, and then a ton of extra accuracy in all these champions, which I really can't do myself without. Maybe I could with hurting other champions, but it's just not worth it for this content at this point. So alternatives. I'm always going to talk a little bit alternatives. What else can we take here? So the main thing, the most important thing to me for this boss is getting that slow on the boss. Once the slow is off, the boss just starts zooming and shreds your team. So champions that are bringing slow, champions that bring slow on their A1 are almost entirely necessary. This guy is getting built up to do a separate video for this. His A1, if you have 100% crit, is a guaranteed decreased speed. No percent-based chance, unlike, say, the champions I was using that have a percent chance of landing that ability. Stag Knight's is pretty great because he has a 30% chance twice. Skathix is only 30% chance once, but he is bringing the cleanse, block debuffs, and shield, so he brings something else to the team for that. And I guess a little block damage on himself if things get a little bit shaky for him. There is one other champion that I want to see if I have in my... Actually, I'm not going to go through my roster because it's going to take a lot longer for me to find it. We're just going to go into Shadowcan, and I was just seeing this guy. He is not Void and not Epic, which is really nice. And he has a 30% chance on a 3-hit to place a decreased speed. So if you have this champion and you're using him anywhere else especially, or you don't mind building him up, this is not bad for this champ, or for this content. Additionally, his A3 is a poison. And it's not a chance of, it's each hit places a 5% poison for 3 turns. So using these 3 for this boss, probably turning this off because we don't really need it, and just getting the slow, getting the poisons, This could be a good champion to take here. I might even try to build one up. I think I have one. I think he's like level 40 right now. Another good option, but just look at champions like that that are bringing the slow on the A1. That is the most important thing for this boss. The next most important thing I would say is to find somebody with a decreased attack. Help the boss from killing you. You have him slow. He does less damage. That's hugely important. For this specific team, Geo is almost necessary. Teams without Geo kind of require much more extreme levels of gear because everything else procs that cleanse, and it is really problematic to help your team keep going if they aren't just incredibly strong and resilient. Again, on this team, you're going to need a reviver of some sort. It does not have to be Godseeker, but whatever champion you have that does a good revive. Hopefully that gives them decent HP and possibly turn meter on that revive, the best you can find there. And if you can find that on a champion with the healer kit, is going to be pretty good. Somebody else you could use for that is at least a guaranteed champion you can get is Sile. Sile's bringing you that revive with an ally protect on the champion, which is pretty nice, and a chance to slow on the A1. So Sile is a great A1 option, but Sile is dangerous on this particular boss because every turn Sile will place a buff, which if the slow isn't there is an uncontrollable speed increase on the opponent. If you're able to maintain this debuff, it's fine. Sile is still a great option to take here, especially if you're going not against Force Affinity. So in the case of an affinity that is going to be problematic for Stag Knight, you could potentially consider bringing Sile. Now Sile doesn't have the attack down, but the heal does provide some value there. And then, man, if you got Woad, big heals. I mean, again, that's just big heals. Bring anybody else with big heals, but the that boss has a really strong chance of taking your team down to almost nothing. Being able to heal back up several times is going to be really nice. So for this team, slows, attack down, res, heals, in that order. Geo if you got them. And yeah, that's what I got here. Keep an eye out on this channel because we will be tackling some other content for this Iron Twins team. We're going to have show Kurzat off here. We might have some other builds as I'm able to find them and build them in a way that at least can show a chance of success. I don't just want to say, hey, here's 20 teams that fail, because we all can find those. But this team at least, again, a link for Ash's video in the description below. It can be done by a realistic account. It doesn't take necessarily a whale account, but an early game account would probably struggle pretty hard with this. So this has been an alternate image raid video. If you like, if you really like, sub, and if you dislike, smash that dislike button because it's still engagement for the channel. And as always, have a great day.